And tonight I will be talking about 4 hints to write a strong cover letter that will improve your chances to be shortlisted to an interview. But first, for those that don't know me, my name is Gerson Ida. I'm a founder of www.engineersinaustralia.com, a website to share content of value and useful information for you that are in your journey to validate your engineering qualification here in Australia. And I also share information about other subjects like workplace health and safety, environmental management, and also how to get a professional job here in Australia. And sometimes some job opportunities when I come across some job opportunities. So Facebook, I don't know if you guys could, I'll just turn on my comments. Yeah, thanks Radian, saying that Facebook is crisp and clean, which is good. I hope that YouTube is also good. And if you stay until the end, I will give you my free ebook that I wrote about the 10 challenges that most overseas engineers they face when they arrive in Australia. And that ebook is based on my own experience when I came to Australia some 15 years ago. So for you that are planning to come to Australia, or for you that arrived in Australia and you are an engineer and perhaps you are facing the same challenges, and I talk about those challenges there. And the ebook is in Portuguese and English, so you have the choice to either read it in English or Portuguese. It's not very long, it's just I think 35 pages, so you can read it quite easily. And I would like to invite you to participate in my next free online workshop that I'm going to be promoting very soon, maybe next month or the month after. My online workshop, Engineering Qualification Validation, and I will give you a little bit more details after the last tip. And before I start, I would like to know, what is your main question when you are writing your cover letter? Do you know what a cover letter is? So send me your questions in the comments and I will reply then during this live session. But it's really important for me to know what is your question when you are writing your cover letter, because I'm going to give 4 tips tonight which I believe they're very important. And but if you have a particular question about the cover letter, especially because the cover letter in Brazil and in Australia and perhaps in other countries, the cover letter here in Australia is quite different from other countries. And some people may be asking, Jason, but why are you talking about cover letter? Why do you think you could talk about cover letter? Well, I'm not a HR person, but as an engineer, as a manager, in the last 10 years, I've recruited many engineers and project managers. And just recently, I was in a recruitment process where I was recruiting a senior project manager, a civil engineer. Salary was quite good, was about $110,000 per year, plus super, plus other things. So I've interviewed 4 people, and we had 70 applicants. So, and all those applicants, they've got the curriculum and the cover letter. And in the last, I don't know how many people I've recruited already, 20, 30, I think. So I think that I know a little bit about the Australian recruitment process, and I've seen many cover letters, I've seen many curriculums, and I sat in many professional interviews. And even myself, I've done many interviews myself, so I will share my experience. It's not right or wrong, but it is my experience as a recruiter, as a professional that recruited many professionals already. So if you have any particular question, put in the comments and I will endeavor to answer them. So let's get down to the business now. And I'm really happy to be here and share my experience as a recruitment panel member and recruitment panel chair. And as I said, I've recruited lots of engineers and project managers. And what I've noticed was that candidates, they don't really value too much the cover letter, because, and I'm saying this because a lot of the cover letters that I saw, they don't really say much. They say 2 paragraphs at the most, and just saying, yes, I'm really interested to be in this position, and I would welcome to be invited for an interview if you want to know more. And that's it. That's a cover letter. And when I read that sort of cover letter, it's really, really bad, especially because the job advertisements, they usually ask you to address few things in your cover letter. And well, I'll give the tips a little bit later on. So first, I would like to talk to you the importance of a cover letter. So in most job opportunities, there is the role description or job description. Every time that you see and find a vacant job on seek.com or indeed.com.au or any other job website, there's always, well, usually there's always a job description or a role description. And this document is where there is a brief explanation about the company. Sometimes there is identification of the company, sometimes there is not. But also the most important thing is there is an explanation of the area of the work that the position is being recruited for. And it also explains what the expectations of the positions are, outlining the functions and activities assigned to the position being recruited. So really, really important to read very carefully the position description and the job description. But most important part of the cover letter is how to address the skills and competencies required in the job description. So usually the job advertisement will say something like this. Please submit your CV, maximum of number of pages. It could be 2, 3, 4. Here in Australia, it's very common that cover letter, resumes, they are have a maximum of 3, 4, 5 pages. It's very common. Different from my experience, different from Brazil, which is my country, that sometimes resumes just one page, 2-page maximum. Here in Australia, a resume is very common that they allow companies and recruitment companies, they allow you to have 4 or 5 pages, especially if it is for a higher level, a senior position level, because you will have to demonstrate lots of competencies. So the most important part of the cover letter is how to address the skills and competencies that are required in the job description, and make clear that you are explaining with real examples how you performed the task, what were the difficulties that you encountered, the problem-solving methodology, and what was the final result. So we all know that submitting a well-written CV or resume, it is important in the job search process. But it's not necessarily, in my opinion, the most important document for secure an interview. We all, when we apply for a job, we submit our resume, and then we're just waiting to receive that phone call. Usually it's a phone call, confirming that you've been shortlisted for an interview. So many people, they believe that a strategically targeted cover letter is one of the most important weapons that you can use in this battle of securing an interview. And nowadays, because of high competition, there's probably a lot of candidates. So when companies, they advertise for a position, there will be a lot of competition. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, when we advertised for the senior project manager position, we had about 70 candidates. So why do I believe, and that's my belief, it may be different from you or others, but that's my belief. So why do I believe that cover letters, they really a strong weapon for you to secure a professional interview? Well, one, I think that the cover letter allows you to focus on the position and the employer in a very specific way, leaving your CV to sell your skills, qualities, and experiences as part of the overview. And two, a good cover letter should not only repeat your resume briefly. So it's a big mistake when you just repeat in your cover letter what is written in your resume. But you should tell the employer or the recruitment company why you are interested in the job vacancy. So you must also include the unique specific skills and qualities that you have that can contribute to the company. So there's a lot of tips for the cover letter, but tonight I selected 4 tips that I think that if you think about it, it can probably put you in a very strong position. So tip number 1, consider the cover letter as a document more important than the CV. So many job seekers, they invest a lot of time in their CV. So if you are looking for a job, you could be spending a lot of time in your CV or resume. And you do not pay, some people, they not pay a lot of attention to the cover letter. And it's a very serious, and I'd say, in my opinion, almost fatal mistake in your job search journey. So, and many employees, why do I say that? Because many employees and recruiters, they read the cover letter first. I do. Every time that I'm in the panel, I read the cover letter first. If it kind of triggers my interest, I will then probably have a look at the CV, especially when I have lots and lots of applications to read. Obviously, I'll have a look at the CV anyway, but if the cover letter is well written, I put a mark saying that this candidate requires a very good attention. Some will not even consider your resume until they are satisfied with the content of the cover letter. So this document is really, really important. I know that many recruiters and companies, if you don't really have a good cover letter addressing the competencies that they ask you to address in your cover letter, they don't even continue the process with you. So careful read the remaining tips. So listen to the remaining tips of your cover letter and make sure that you address in your cover letter all the competencies and selection criteria that they ask in the job advertisement. Tip number 2, customize your cover letter. So this is a strategy that will make your cover letter much more likely to be appreciated by the company or recruiter, as you will demonstrate their specific characteristics, often unique to the advertised job company. And a common mistake for the candidates is to use the generic cover letter containing only personal and professional characteristics. And some candidates, they don't consider that each position may require specific skills and experience. So that's a very common mistake. I have read a lot of cover letters that I think, well, this candidate just sent the same cover letter to every single job that this candidate is applying for, because the cover letter is very generic and it doesn't really address the competencies. So research the company that you are applying for or the industry that the company is inserted is really, really important. It will help in customizing your cover letter. So if you are an engineer, if you're applying for a particular job, sometimes obviously the job doesn't really have the company that is recruiting for, but as I said in the last live session about the resume, it's a good idea to give a call to the recruiter and then ask to the recruiter if is there any particular expectation of the company. The recruiter or the recruitment agency may not disclose the name of the company. Sometimes they do, but if they, you know what the industry is going to be, so it's a good idea to research about the industry, know how the industry is going, what sort of projects the industry is doing. For example, if you're an engineer recruiting for infrastructure projects here in Brisbane, there's highly chance that what are the very big projects here in Brisbane? Well, there's Cross River Rail, there's Brisbane Metro, There's all other road projects and bridge projects, and so it's important to do a little bit of research on the industry. So, and you got to understand that the project that the company is building or constructing or delivering is being executed or delivered within the industry in question. So really, really important to tailor customize your cover letter. So if you're applying for an infrastructure project, let's say road construction, customize your cover letter for road construction. Within infrastructure, if you're doing if you apply for a structural job, structures job, so customize, having obviously addressing when you're addressing the selection criteria to have the result that you've obtained when you were delivering some structures projects. So tip number 3, remember that the companies are recruiting on a merit basis. So it's really, really important to understand what is merit. So what is merit? So do you guys have any idea of what merit is? What's the definition of merit? So I'm just going to check if we've got any particular question. No questions. I don't believe we've got questions in Instagram. Yeah, well, if you guys have any question, please put in the comments and I will answer. But what is merit? So how much merit is how much a person has the relevant skills, attitude, competencies, qualifications, knowledge, experience, and personal qualities to perform the task in question. So these are all the things that when you are applying under a meritorious process, the companies, employers, or the recruiters are going to assess. So if relevant, how the person performed tasks in previous work. So it's really important that they will consider the information on your cover letter and the resume. How did you perform similar tasks in previous work? Or how much the person has a potential for development. Sometimes, especially if you are changing industry, you may not have a lot of experience in that particular industry. But if, according to your cover letter and your resume, the recruiter can feel that you have kind of an ability to adjust and to perform and to learn in a new industry, certainly you will be considered. And the merit evaluation criteria can be described as merit criteria, selection criteria, candidate profile, the successful candidate will, is this role for you, key attributes, capabilities, core capabilities, key competencies. These are some of the expressions that you will find in the job description or you will find in the job advertisement when they are talking about recruiting by merit. So again, merit criteria, selection criteria, candidate profile, the successful candidate will, is this role for you, key attributes, key competencies, capabilities, core capabilities. Some of the expressions that you may find. Sorry. And tip number 4, be very clear when addressing the competencies or selection criteria and utilize real examples for when you've achieved positive results. So most job vacancies for engineers or project managers, they contain key competencies or selection criteria as a merit evaluation criteria, as we just mentioned in tip number 3. So it's really, really important that in your cover letter, you are very specific and right addressing each selection criteria or competency. And many candidates, they mix everything in the body of the letter and forget that the recruiters, they're usually analyzing tens or dozens of candidates. And the more organized your letter is, the better your chances of being chosen for the interview. So for example, if one of the selection criteria is engineering knowledge, for example. So as a candidate, you should give an example of, for example, what was the engineering problem faced? What was the problem solving method that you guys used? what were the strengths and weaknesses of the solution options, or for each option, what were the weak points and positive points, and then which option was chosen and why, and what were the results achieved, and finally, what was your role for this result. So really, really important to really address, if they're talking about a particular selection criteria, you gotta pretty much cover what was the problem, what was the problem method resolution you faced, were there any options, which option did you choose, was it because pros and cons, how did you do it, and what was the result achieved. So these are pretty much the 4 tips that I would like to have a chat with you. So just reminding what were the 4 tips. Tips number 1, consider the cover letter as a document more important than the CV. Tip number 2, customize your cover letter. Don't send the same cover letter to every single job that you apply for. Tip number 3, remember that the companies are recruiting on a merit basis. And tip number 4, be very clear when addressing the competencies or selection criteria and utilize real examples when you have achieved those positive results. So, and as I promised, after tip number 4, if you want to register to my next free workshop, Engineering Qualification Validation, to help you to fulfill your dream to be recognized as an engineer here in Australia, you just need to register using the link in the comments. I will put the comments briefly. Sorry. I'll have to type in few places. So www.bit.ly/register_vf. I just did that in YouTube. So in Instagram, www.bit.ly/register_vf post, and YouTube, I'll put in YouTube here, www.bit.ly/register_vf. So Facebook is also already there. And also about my free ebook, I promised you guys that I was going to give you my free ebook. I'll put in Instagram as well. Well, I'm going to just put the links here on YouTube. So that's YouTube there. Sorry, I'm gonna do a little bit of a muck around. So that's YouTube, and that's Facebook and Instagram, www.bit.ly/ebook 10 challenges. So that's the English version in Instagram, and then the Portuguese version is bit.ly/ebook 10 desafios, and that is the Portuguese version as well. So yeah, when you click on those links, you just need to send your name and email address. You will receive an email with the PDF, and then you can download your ebook. And if you have any particular question, send me a direct message in Instagram or a messenger in Facebook, or put in the comments in YouTube. And I hope you have enjoyed those 4 tips. If you have any other tip, yeah, put in the comments and share with the others as well. And I wish you all the best, and I would like to thank you very much for your attention, your participation tonight, and I'll see you next Sunday, 8:30 p.m. Brisbane time, in another live session talking about another engineering subject or job recruitment or engineering qualification subject. See you, and bye-bye.